Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of a conversation about your Kundalini awakening. And I'd like to welcome you all here. My name is Chrism, and we will go right into our conversation. Following another car, actually looking at a stoplight on the way to get some food for Lasha today, I saw a bumper sticker on a car, and it really reminded me a lot of the Kundalini equation, where, you know, it's saying, watch your thoughts, because thoughts become words, words become behaviors, behaviors become habits, habits can form character, and character can form destiny. And I think that is so appropriate for Kundalini people, because that, you know, that bumper sticker is basically it's describing an outline of a life to be lived, and how you would live that life. And if you can scrunch that up into the hyper time that Kundalini puts us into. So, for instance, with a Kundalini person, that instruction, that set of instructions is in real time. It's real time right now. And you get very feedback from that real time right now scenario as you go through your process. And so it's very important for people to really, really, really watch their thoughts. And by watching your thoughts, I mean, I want you to control your thoughts. I want you to control your thoughts towards positivity if you can. Not everything in this world is positive, but so much in this world is certainly within human society is of a negative force, a negative nature, that inserting conscious positivity is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. And so I strongly recommend people to really begin to look at the way they think. Look at that inner dialogue. I know I've said it on this program before, and I know that the folks that are consistently listening to this, they're going to be reminded about this, but it is so true. And the way they wrote it, and I'll say it again, is watch the way you think. Watch your thoughts, because thoughts can become actions. Actions can become behaviors. Behaviors can become habits. Habits can form character, and character can design a destiny. And the destiny that I would hope that you would be designing right now is towards love, towards trust, towards acceptance and surrender, and the dignity that comes with this. And of course, people are going to say, wait a minute. Dignity is an ego sensation. Dignity, that sense of self-worth and things like that. Well, I don't think it's so heavily, unless the person imbues ego excentrism upon it, then I don't see I don't see that as dignity as being part of an egoic expression, unless of course one puts it into it. So really look at how you behave. What are the thoughts that you're most likely to think about given situations? So somebody cuts you off on the highway, or while you're driving your car. What is the thought that comes to your mind? Your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your husband or your wife accidentally don't show up at the agreed upon time, at the agreed upon place, and what are the thoughts that run through your mind there? Somebody does something to you that they're not supposed to do. What are your thoughts there? I mean, go through the levels of interaction that you have with people, and as you do this, you'll get better and better and better at it, and you'll be able to really begin to to make very, very small, imperceptible changes that will actually have a very large impact. So look at how you think and why you think the way you think. And then look at how many of those thoughts are turned into actions. Look at that. Look at what thoughts are you acting on. What thoughts go from just being a thought to being an interaction upon this environment, the many overlapping environments that we have available to us on this world while we are in these bodies. Look at what thoughts form what actions. Okay. And while you're looking at that, I'm going to ask Mary Jean and Emma Travis to let me know if the sound is coming through into the chat room, because, you know, every now and again we'll have a problem with Blog Talk Radio, and we'll need to do little mini sound checks here because the internet technology isn't as sophisticated yet as it needs to. The sound of the chair is coming through. LOL, very clear. Oh my God. And I got a different chair too. Just okay, hang on. Let me do this. Thank you, my dear co-host. The sound of the chair is coming through. Oh my God. I saw you typing, Amelia, and I wondered what you were going to say. So I just said, yeah, okay. The chair has now been stilled. Thank you, Mary Jean. Thank you, Emma. And thank you, Santara. So yeah, look at what thoughts that you think that you actually create or respond to that are actionable. And then as you take that action and you do it over and over and over again, how have you created that behavior based upon that one thought? And then as you do that behavior over and over, and that turns into a habit, so that one thought now has expanded itself into many different actionable events upon this world, and through your interactions upon this world. Okay, and as you continue to have that habit, this begins to affect your character. So if you can make the thought be a thought of love or forgiveness or tolerance or honesty or compassion, consideration, service, healing, if you can make the thoughts and then the actions based upon those thoughts, and then the habitual actions that have become behavior to you, if you can form those into a positive format, then you have unleashed many venues and vectors of positivity upon this world. And this will be directly related to you inside of your Kundalini process. You'll definitely have that feedback, that feeling, that you name it, that is important for you to begin to really look into how you are creating the I was going to say the crib for your Kundalini awakening, but I'm also getting how you're creating the wardrobe of your behaviors that the Kundalini shines through. Is she shining through a wardrobe of love and surrender and acceptance and charity and kindness and consideration and these types of positive qualities? Or is the Kundalini trying to shine through anger, spitefulness, resentment, grudges, pain, dissatisfaction, self-aggrandizement, individual character assassination, all the different qualities that most people actually, most sleepers, they're actively engaged in that every day, which becomes a behavior, which becomes a habit, which becomes, a characterization of who they are. So it's important for people to remember this. And now I'm going to introduce my lovely co-host from the Emerald Isle in the southern part of the Emerald Gem of the Eastern Atlantic seaboard, or Western Atlantic, European Atlantic seaboard. I would like to welcome into the conversation Her Holiness, the Celtic Queen of Kindness and Consideration. Her Holiness, the one and only, Amelia Santara. What do you think of that?
Hello, everybody. I thought my cue happened a few times. I was ready to go, hello.
Did John hear that?
No. But thank you very much. It's really good to be here. And today I'm having no problem.
It's all true.
It's all true. Thank you. Today I'm having no problem with my internet, and I have the chat room in front of me. I'm in Cork City, so everything is stable. And I can see the people in the chat room. Hi, everybody. So it's good to be here, Chrism. And dignity, you mentioned dignity. I was thinking about that, and what comes up for me with dignity is, being courteous and respectful and noble. And these are all, very much Kundalini, non-ego things, I think.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
yeah, I like the word dignity in the context of what you were saying.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's good to be here, Chrism.
So what has happened in your Kundalini life in the last week since we last spoke? Bring us all up to date, my dear.
Oh, no, thank you. That's what Emma says to me when I ask her to do something. No, thank you, Mom. So much has been happening, Chrism. I had some time down in Kerry because I was doing work in Kerry, and a lot of things happened in Kerry. I think the Kundalini, I know the Kundalini is always, when I'm on my own, she does a lot of work with me. And yes, there was a lot of things happened in Kerry, and it was wonderful. I was able to spend time again out in nature, spend time in the woods. I had a lot of dreams. I had a lot of communication. It was excellent. And the Shaktipat has begun since we last spoke, of course. And we're on day 2. I did have a fall, which wasn't...
You took a fall?
I did.
Are you okay?
I am. Depends how you define okay. I haven't broken anything.
Are you in
I've
pain?
had,
are you in pain?
I was.
Yeah.
I'm not so much in pain now, but I was in a lot of pain. I fell down on my left-hand side, really hurt my arm and my leg, the whole left side actually, my shoulder, to the extent that I was seriously, considering going to the hospital. It was so bad, and I'm good on pain. But
oh my God!
I thought I had fractured something, but I could feel the Kundalini, the way she does when she's healing. I could actually feel it, and so I surrendered to that, and it's definitely okay. I'm not going to have to do anything medical or anything like that. It's been taken care of.
Well, that's very, very good to hear, my dear. Very good to hear, and it's interesting that you fell on your left side on the first day of Shaktipat. What do you think's going on there?
Well, now, hello. I don't know. It kind of bothered me because the Shaktipat starts here at 11 a.m. and I had, I was doing my meditation and I was lying down and I was waiting for I just like to spend that time, and I had a beautiful experience during that time. Really lovely and very tactile. And I was filled with, that amazing presence, and I was filled with gratitude, and then off I went to do something. And it was when it happened, I became aware soon afterwards it was my left side, and I was kind of going, what's that about? So maybe, I don't know, Chrism, but it was my left side. I mean, everything on my left side, from my neck.
Maybe the suggestion from the Shakti, painful as that suggestion may be, is to relax a little bit more into that first day, rather than painting the house or, getting ready for the Olympics or whatever it is that needs to be done. I know that you were down there in Cary to do some work on the house. Maybe that's part of the deal. Did you fall in Cary, or did you fall up there in Cork?
I fell in Cork, but I fell in Youghal. So, but I was doing work again, busy. I was. I mean, I left the house soon after that wonderful experience, and I headed off, and I was working. And I have been looking at, am I being, mindful of, the Shakti? Am I being mindful of the divine feminine, that aspect? And I haven't come up with anything definite, but it's hardly a coincidence, I don't believe that that's the case. I think that the Kundalini communicates to us in different ways, and I feel this was one of those. I'm just not getting it, I think, Chrism.
Well, I agree, and I think that maybe she just wants you to pay a little bit more attention to all the ramifications of sacred femininity on your left side, and maybe there's also an indication to, as you bring that initial Shaktipat experience into you, to really kind of let it percolate through your system without having to maybe have an agenda of work that you need to do. More of a meditative acceptance and extension into your day. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, yeah. Yes, I do, Chrism, without a doubt. I do.
And that goes for anybody that goes for anyone that's having the Shaktipat. And then for those of you that are listening that are new to this, people in the archives, people that are joining us right now, Shaktipat is a Sanskrit term for the transference of Kundalini energy from a person like me to a person like you. And my Shaktipat has no distance parameters. It can go anywhere, the divine wants to go. And the Shaktipat that comes through me is very, very precise. It has to be on an equinox or a solstice. In my time zone, which is Pacific Standard Time Zone, on the west coast of California, west coast of the North American continent, I have to do my Shakti. I have to send it 3 a.m. in the morning, which is the golden hour. And, there has to be 9 days of preparation and then 9 days of reception after the 7 days between those two 9-day periods. The 7 days of the actual Shaktipat, which is one chakra per day. Okay. And so that's just kind of a quick understanding of what we're talking about with regards to Shaktipat. And this is the second day. This is the second day of the Shaktipat. This is the orange day. And this would greatly accelerate your healing. Are you wearing the colors, Amelia?
Yes, Chrism, I am, and it has accelerated the healing, and it's begun this morning again with the most beautiful smell. A smell that, sometimes the Kundalini over the years would have given me to smell a flower or incense or lilies or lilac.
Do you remember when we were in Lourdes, France?
Yes, of course I do, yes.
And you remember the smell of those flowers? Was it like those?
No, this was a smell I had never smelled before. I can't identify it. It was sweet, I think it was probably a flower, but I've never smelled it in real life ever. So, and it last, I was there and I could smell it, and it lasted maybe for the count up to 10, and then it was gone, completely gone. So, I mean, again, that was a Kundalini communication during that time to me, and when that happens, and it doesn't happen with every Shaktipat. That's the thing about it as well. Every Shaktipat is quite different, isn't it?
Yes,
it's like,
indeed.
yeah. So that's how today began. So I suppose a part of me was very grateful as well after the fall yesterday to receive a communication such as that one.
Yeah. What's that? Is something buzzing on your end there?
That was some message, I think, that came into my phone because it just vibrated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and continue along these lines, but I want you to feel free to just kind of to come on in whenever you feel compelled. Okay.
Okay, Chrism, will do.
So I'm a little torn between talking about the controlling of the thoughts and the Shaktipat. I guess I don't talk that much about the Shaktipat, so I'll go ahead and continue along that line. But the controlling of the thoughts is extremely important to a person's Kundalini awakening equation. Be very, very, very mindful of what you're thinking, mindful of what you're having your mind conjure up. Be very, very careful about how you think emotionally. Are you in a constant level of self-aggrandizement with your inner dialogue? Or are you in a constant level of self-deprecation inside of your inner dialogue? You need to really, really sit down and think about how you talk to yourself throughout the entire day, because those are thoughts, and those thoughts turn into actions, and those actions turn into behaviors, and those behaviors turn into habits, and those habits turn into character expressions that will definitely affect your destiny. Certainly your destiny within the Kundalini. So please be very, very mindful of that, and even more so when we're inside of the Shaktipat. So we are inside of the summer solstice Shaktipat for 2016. We are on the second day, which means we are on the second chakra. And so the first and the second chakra are being honored today. Today is the day we wear the orange. And the orange, of course, is the expressive color that emanates from the second chakra. But we're also, because yesterday was the first chakra, so we have the first chakra lit up in red, and we have the second chakra right now lit up in orange. And when I go through the pictures, I use the pictures to give the Shaktipat. How do I say it? This personality, this Chrism person that you're hearing right now, steps way back. Almost just kind of goes into his own little meditation, and there's a very specific way that the Kundalini through Chrism begins to give those Shaktipats, and they're getting fairly strong. They get stronger every time I do it, but these days, because I've been doing this, I think for close to 10 years now, maybe 9 years. It's becoming a very, very, very strong quality. And so I want to mix into this discussion about Shaktipat, the level of thought control and how important that can be. A lot of people, they've grown up having to protect themselves in some way, or to inside of this human world of competition. We're always striving to push ourselves into a position of dominance, or of strength, or of control, or in some way that allows us to get our little piece of the pie. Well, with the Kundalini, you want to start looking at what you're using to attain your piece of the pie, And from that expression, from that level of thought, begin to moderate your thoughts. If they're expressly negative and consistently negative, I'm not saying you can never have a negative thought. I'm just looking at levels of consistency here. What is it you're thinking of most of the time with regards to yourself and your interaction with other people? What quality of thought is emanating through your energetic anatomy? And then as you step into the Shakti pot, what qualities of thought are being amplified by the Shakti pot? You know, you look at Amelia Santara's scenario. You know, she's doing work on the first day of Shakti pot. She's up there. I think I'm not quite sure what she fell off of, but obviously, you know, it was a high enough place to cause her considerable pain when she lands. Well, what would that message be? I'm sure that let me go over to her right now. I shouldn't just talk about our lovely hostess like she's not standing here listening to us. Hi, Amelia.
Hi, I'm here.
Can you remember what thoughts you were thinking before you fell?
Well, I can tell you what I was doing. There was a big cardboard box that I was folding with my legs to put into a rubbish dump.
Let me get the visual on this. You're folding a box with your legs, right?
Yeah, so imagine that it's like 7 or 8 foot high and 3 feet across. So I lie it down, I half it, it's quite thick. So I stand on it and I'm forming a crease. Then I quarter it and I'm forming a crease. And it's to go into, what's it called, a recyclable bin. And somebody is after throwing in food. And it's all over the bin. And I am very cross. And I'm thinking not very nice things.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I'm really, yeah.
Oh,
and,
you are. Well, you know, bless you for your honesty and the integrity of your honesty. I mean, that alone could be part of the reasoning for what occurred, right?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I was, yeah. I mean, there was curses being thrown in there, you know, about the people. Yeah, without a doubt, Chrism, it was very negative. And as I was, you know, God, as I was folding it, like I wasn't doing it with, we'll say, thoughts of helping the environment by doing this. I was doing it with some
resentment,
irritation, and aggression, you know. So, yeah, this is true.
So let me ask you: Were you killing the box?
Kind of, yeah. I was. I hadn't even thought of that aspect. Yeah, I was. No, kind of, Chrism, I was.
So
and then
really
as
good.
I pushed it down.
This is really a good lesson for everyone. Everyone. Inside of that Shakti pot, and literally inside of the Kundalini anytime, right, Santara, we have to be incredibly mindful of what we're thinking and why we're thinking what we're thinking, right?
Yes, we do. Without exception, obviously, you know. I mean, seriously. I had no consciousness of that at all. I just let it fly, you know, in my head.
Right. And boom, down you go on your left-hand side, the Shakti, knowing that you're going to question, well, why is that on the left-hand side, and why is it on the first day of Shakti pot, blah, blah, blah. And so we can see a form of Kundalini logic happening, certainly within your equation. But I imagine, and I think it's truthful, that this happens to a lot of people, not just you. This happens to a lot of people who don't really take the Kundalini as seriously as they might want to. and they don't control their thoughts. And when they come into well, let me back up a little bit. In the United States, maybe partially in Europe as well, and other places, there's an unspoken attitude of more is better. So more energy is better. More of this or that is better. More is better. And so people that already have the Kundalini will take the Shakti pot in order to get more. And they won't necessarily look at more self-perception and self-control, self-discipline, as they may want to do that. And the Shakti can turn around and sting them pretty hard. No accident that Shakti also represents herself as the honeybee or a wasp. You know, she can sting a person pretty hard. And I've been stung, and I know that you Centaur, you've also been stung more than once too. And it's very important for people to realize that. Yeah.
I agree with you, and I know that what you're saying is absolutely true. And she can turn around and smack you or sting you, or without a doubt, Chrism. And gosh, yeah, I'm grateful for this insight, because it's not that I do the Shakti Pat, I think, just speaking for myself, for more energy, because I'm very aware that each time, but I'm saying, but I would be, I would also be doing it without maybe enough cognizance of extending it into, you know, like at that time and that day, it was out the window. You know, my thoughts were just not where they should have been at all. And so, without a doubt, I think that was part of it, because I think it was a big communication for me. And the thing is now that she has also healed it so beautifully, right, you know, at the same time. So she gave me this thing to happen that was very, very dramatic, and I've been searching all day as to what was it about, really, and saying, and now here is the show, and lo and behold, look, you know, that's what it's about, Chrism.
I agree. And once again, you know, I think this is a message that Kundalini is using you in order to bring out for the benefit of others as well. And I think it's very important for people to really be cogent of the emotions that they're thinking. Kundalini people, oh boy, you know, if you're not controlling your emotions and the thoughts that are connected to your emotions, you can put a lot of energy into a very, very depressing scenario, which the Kundalini can amplify within you. If you constantly have and also entities can begin to influence your emotions and your inner dialogue as well. If you have a lot of entity attachments coming through you, they can also insert an emotional agenda within you that will help you to be self-invalidating. That can help you to have doubt. That can help you to have mistrust, and can really push a person into anger and rage. And that anger and rage may still be internal. People on the outside won't know won't show on your face or anything. But inside, it's like nuclear warheads going off inside your body, damaging your body, damaging your organs, damaging your lungs, your heart, your pancreas, your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder, all of the ductless and the duct-oriented glands as well, and therefore begin to compromise your immune system. So it's very, very important, certainly within a Shaktipat experience, to control the way you think. And you just start out small with this. Don't think like, okay, all right, I'm going to chart everything that I think about, every thought of my day. I'm going to write down, and which, of course, that's not a bad idea, because you'll write down the ones that are most important to you and your Kundalini. So I'm not saying don't do that. You could certainly do that. But I don't want you to overwhelm yourself at first, is basically what I'm saying. Start small and build. And remember to self-correct. remember that if you're thinking of these hurtful thoughts, these damaging thoughts, remember to change them. Don't just go, oh, okay, I was thinking a hurtful thought, at 11 o'clock this morning, and a very hurtful thought, and then I remembered what Chrism said about controlling my thoughts, and I remember thinking the hurtful thoughts. Well, you got to change the thought. So one way to change the thought is to go exactly opposite of where that thought was taking. So let's say, I'm so angry at my neighbor for parking in my parking spot. Oh my God, I'm so angry at this person. So you would turn that around. You turn that around.
Yeah, when you can forgive
and you say
them.
to yourself, I'm so grateful that he's taking my parking spot, and I had to park 2 miles away because I really need the extra exercise, and it's helped me to really lose weight and to burn these calories, and gosh, I got to enjoy the view all those 2 miles back to my apartment. So I'm really grateful. You find the goodness. Sometimes you got to look really, really hard. You find the goodness.
Okay.
Yeah. So for you, if you were thinking, thoughts of anger, say towards whoever threw that food on it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You just say, oh, thank God that that somebody threw food out here so those crows can have something to eat. And I know that you got a lot of crows in y'all because I remember watching them. They're very nice. And seagulls too. I think got a lot of seagulls.
Yeah.
So the seagulls and the crows.
Yeah, this is indoors though. This is indoors in a bin, so that wouldn't work. So, yeah. But I could have forgiven them immediately, and I could have just said something positive, couldn't I? Well, I don't know. Help.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
What could I have said?
You could have noticed the different colors and go, oh, how beautiful the colors, the way they're arranged right there. God's painting right there. Or, you could also go, oh, my gosh, they didn't realize this is a recycling bin. Well, blessings to them for wanting to get rid of their garbage in a way that is what they were thinking might be sanitary. So, I mean, there are ways around it that you can think positivity. And like you said, you can just forgive right off the bat.
Yeah. But I like the positivity thing. I actually have not been doing that very much lately. Turning it around and doing the opposite. And this safeties is something that, that I would use to help me with my thoughts, because I know how important it is. Yet I didn't, and I'm realizing that I have been doing that a little bit, quite a lot lately, actually.
Well, that's
the more you're talking.
It's a very easy habit to get into. Yeah. I remember my first 30 years of life, I was literally clinically depressed almost all the time. And, to have a positive thought was really, going into levels of self-introspection that I wasn't really interested in going into. I was so addicted to thinking negatively about my life and about people in my life and about my circumstances and the whole bit. And you can really dig a deep, deep hole inside of a depressive scenario. And certainly if you're taking medical drugs to go with that depressive scenario, that can drive you to suicide or can drive you, the SSRIs really aren't good for anybody, not even Lasha, my cat. But it's very, very important, I feel, and it's great that you're having these revelations, Centaur, because your revelations become the revelations of others too.
Yeah, it's so self-invalidating, Chrism. Actually, those negative.
Yeah. Well,
aren't our emotional thoughts typically led by ego?
Ego and entities.
Our emotional. Well, I remember entities before, when I had entities, and that came up for me actually today reading something. I remember at one stage entities very much were attached to my thoughts. and very much controlling, or seeking to control what I was thinking. And they were getting into areas, and it wasn't my thoughts now. This wasn't me consciously thinking. The entities actually were changing thoughts and giving me things to think that were outside of myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And therefore, you're right. You have to change your thoughts. And I remember that would have been part of your instruction for me. I mean, I'm going back a few years now at the time. So could you talk a little bit more about that, about, entities and the thought control around that?
Well, the thing is that with entities, they have kind of a direct line into your thought patterns. On either side of the fontanelle, you have transmigration channels where entities will tie in. And some of them can tie in telepathically. It depends on what your Kundalini is going to allow them to do. Some you won't get much of a communication from, but you'll get the emotion. They'll send you a dark, terror-like fear, and all of a sudden you'll feel fear for no reason whatsoever. And that would be the sign of an entity, coming at you that way. Another aspect is the entities, because they can see you, they can see kind of what triggers there are, within your system. They will latch onto those triggers. Say you have the Kundalini, and the Kundalini is, flowing through you, and you have this tremendous level of love for other people, other creation, other animals, you're just in love with everybody, blissfully in love with everybody, and you see a level of injustice happening. And you look at this level of injustice, and you want to correct it. And the Kundalini amplifies that need to correct that injustice, and you fully throw yourself into those levels of injustice, and you have a devil may care attitude. It's just like, let all the entities come. I don't care. I'm going to go and I'm going to correct this situation. And let's just, it's some sort of say an altercation between two groups of people or whatever, and you throw yourself into it. But by doing that, you throw yourself into the arms of entities. Because it's very, very, very easy to go from the hero wanting to go into and correct an injustice to becoming polarized with one side or the other, depending on how those entities want you polarized. And once you've done that, you have, to use a fisherman's term, you have set the hook that the entities have within you. This is why it is so important to absolutely, undeniably, without any hesitation, to ignore anything and everything that entities have to tell you. I don't care if it's good, bad, or in between. They do not have any right or positive purpose with you. The Kundalini will allow them into you because it forces you. Once you start understanding what entities are about, it forces you to be mindful. The presence of entities in your equation force you to be truthful, force you to be honest. All the while inside your head, a cacophony of voices are saying, no, be dishonest. No, don't be truthful. No, just do bad things, do the terrible things. Hit that person, steal that wallet, run that red light, hurt as many people as you can. And you know that this is the wrong thing to do. And so, of course, you're not doing those things, but you have that voice in your head, and you just have to give it the reversal. You have to go against it. No, I will not do bad things. I will not steal that wallet. I will not do anything that is deleterious to myself or to any other living creature outside of what I need to survive. It's very important. A Kundalini will allow this inner interaction to occur in order to really, really, really put you on the right footing when it comes to what your thoughts should be during your Kundalini activation and awakening. She's put you in that position to force you to be mindful and to remember what not to listen to and what to listen to. It's hugely important because this is the difference between total abject fear and corruption to blissful states of serenity, love, beautiful, joyful service upon this world. Which way do you want to go, my friends?
Is it possible that entities also, when they're targeting you, when they give you triggers or they're setting in the hook, is it possible that entities also disguise their instructions to you in situations that do not seem harmful, like that you get pulled into polarized sides of things, or you think that what you're doing is good, that it's not always as obvious that what you're doing is destructive.
No, you're absolutely correct, Amelia. Sometimes they set very, very elaborate traps because they know you know about them. They know you know about them, and they know that you're ignoring them. And so they'll set elaborate traps that are filled with emotional time bombs, just waiting for you to step on them, like emotional landmines. And this is true too, but the more concise you are with your conscious understanding of how you're thinking and what you're doing and why a certain landmine is coming your way, you can step right around that landmine. It's just a level of constant mindfulness. And let's face it, when you've got little kids around the house or even teenagers, you're not always mindful about, the Kundalini and thinking. And this is often why the Kundalini will try to get you into circumstances where you spend a lot of time alone, because she wants you all to herself so that she can do this work with you. And sometimes inside of a busy family environment, it's very difficult to have that. So you'll see that folks that have this and have a family, they won't get tested like this all the time, but they will some of the time. If they have entities, though, they'll be tested pretty much all the time. If they don't have a big entity contract, then it's more of an example. And Cole Kundalini is asking me, could you give an example that taking sides you just referenced to? Entities don't really care which side you're on, Cole. They just want you to promote negativity. They just want you to promote hurt. They just want you to promote levels of self-destruction by pushing you into these areas of expression. And so they don't care what side you're on, just as long as you're on one of the sides that is fighting the other side. And so they'll switch you back and forth. They'll switch you back. They'll play you against both sides just for the corruption. Has nothing to do with justice or injustice. It has everything to do with corrupting your Kundalini process. It has everything to do about that. Okay. Everything to do about that. Another thing I want to point out, Atlantis Seeker asked me, how many people are you doing Shaktipat for this time? About 65 or more. I don't really count them. As I mentioned, when I'm doing Shaktipat, I'm in such an altered state. Numerical, I don't count. I know how to pull them up. I know how to pull their pictures up, and I know it's exactly, I know exactly what to do. And it's not me that's knowing it. It's just it's hard to say. But I know exactly what to do with regards to the Shaktipat, and it gets done. It gets done. There's a level of neutrality, of mindlessness. Like Mr. Vacuum of Space Mind. Well, and we'll get more to the Shaktipat later on. But for those of you that are in the Shaktipat, Emma is in it. I see Cole is in it. And of course, we know that Amelia's in it. And I'm going to bring Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez into this conversation. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Hi, Chrism.
Hello. And Elizabeth is inside the Shakti Pot. And so for those folks that are inside the Shakti Pot, and for all I know, some of the guests may be inside the Shakti Pot too. For all those inside the Shakti Pot, be very, very mindful of what you're thinking. And Elizabeth, do you have anything to say about this subject?
Yeah, I was the whole time you've been talking, I've been just thinking of, I think the mindfulness thing is so important. And my Kundalini shows me constantly with something that I do that I constantly need to self-correct, where your mind will fill in blanks that aren't necessarily real or aren't necessarily scenarios, in other words, that aren't even happening. Where
they're like somebody's making up a fact and then believing it to be a fact.
Yeah, like just some of the things you said, like someone cuts you off or somebody parks in your parking place. My mind will actually start making up a whole scenario that's not even real. That isn't, and I literally, and it's not even necessarily negative, but I definitely have to stop myself. And why is my ego mind filling in the blanks, in other words, before you don't know what the other person, why they're cutting you off, so my Kundalini is teaching me through mindfulness to not just think positively, but go directly to the things that you're good, like compassion and kindness and the things that are inherently in your personality anyways. Go there and think compassionately, like, in other words, now I'm trying to train myself to more instantly think, oh no, I wonder what's happening with them and their day and why that might be happening, or why they might, in other words, instead of my mind going to some negative place that to make me angry, or to choose compassion instead. Or like today, someone had parked in my parking spot while I was at lunch, and I came back, and instantly, I swear, my mind went to, I should go into work and announce, like, who is parked in the, you're not allowed to park there. That's private parking. That's right. And I instantly stopped myself and tried just to be mindful and not go thinking anything or letting my mind make up this whole scenario that's not going to happen. I'm not going to go into the store and ask who, whatever. And instantly the truth came to me that, that's the psychic. It's summertime. We have readings every day. She's parked there because she's working. And I thought, again, like you said, I can park down the street and get some exercise rather than go storming into, the first thing my mind wanted to do was to go storming into the store and say, who's parked in the wrong parking lot, without knowing or thinking positively. And the second I changed it and thought positively, the truth came to me that, of course, it's Debbie. She's parked there. That's great. And then I thought to myself, well, that's wonderful that she was able to park in my spot, so she's closer, and now when she leaves, she doesn't have to go looking for her car, and she leaves before I leave anyway. And, so it works out perfectly. But if you don't stay mindful, your mind just instantly wants to think of all this stuff that isn't even true.
Right. It's, these are the handles that will come up for a Kundalini activated or awakened individual, certainly during a Shakti Pot. You need to make changes that are consistent with the levels of energetic reception that you're engaging in. And so as you're doing the Shakti Pot, and people are doing the Shakti Pot, increase your levels of self-awareness about how you're thinking and how those thoughts are being turned into actions into behaviors, behaviors into habits. and habits, into an expression of your character, really begin to understand how important it is for you to be mindful about these things. And that's every Kundalini awakening or activated individual. And you're also going to be pushed by your Kundalini to do things that you would never, ever, ever do. And this is really hard, especially for a person that's having the Kundalini alone. She will do things that cross right over cultural taboos, societal acceptance, and political correction. And you must be brave enough, and you must be surrendered enough to allow yourself to do those things. And she'll give you a warning. Sometimes, for those of you lucky enough, she'll give you a warning in advance. She'll say, okay, I'm going to have you do this, this, and that, and I want you to go ahead and do it. If you're fortunate enough to get it in English. And I know, Elizabeth, you get it in English, don't you?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
I do too. I get it in English at times too, although I tend not to go for the verbal. I go more towards the telepathic, because there's more information in telepathy than there is in verbal instructions or verbal communication.
Although in Peru, she gave me things in Spanish and wanted me to blurt these things out in the middle of the ceremony in Spanish, which I did. And then I had to look them up later because I don't actually speak fluent Spanish. So I had to go look it up because I didn't know what she was having me say. Oh.
So, yeah. I just want to, and so really want to compel people to understand how important the control of the inner dialogue is and the control of the inner thoughts. And as we were talking with Santara earlier, make sure that you do the correction. So with Elizabeth, she did the correction. She saw that somebody had parked in her spot and that she was going to have to park somewhere else. And, she went through the process. She went through the process of discerning, okay, this person has a reason to be here, blah, blah, blah. She got through the initial anger response and the how dare you park in my space response. And she was able to really begin to coalesce within herself the antithesis of the anger reaction by saying, well, she needs to be here. This is good. With Santara, oh, look at the beautiful artwork of garbage on the recycling container. Maybe a little more challenging with that one.
I think I was really as well because, in this other place, they have removed their recycling bins, and I am so big into recycling that and I know that that's what they'll do in this other place. So I really left loose, and there was no mindfulness whatsoever, none. So,
well, you're not alone with that. You're not alone with that, Amelia. I mean, this stuff, we have to percolate within this process. It's, perfection is not instantaneous. Perfection is earned. And I still firmly ascribe to the idea that if you're still in a body, then there are aspects of you that are not perfect, or you would not be able to stay here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like Chrism.
What I'm liking, though, is that while that was very dramatic, let's call it, even that, we'll say, amplification of, irritation and anger that I was expressing, it was, it's a very good reminder to me of other aspects in my life that I need to also bring thought, I need to bring mindfulness to my thoughts. So, yeah. That's what I'm saying as well. It has percolated into other areas. I'm beginning to see that I need to also...
And I know for a fact that you're in the awakened stage, and I know for a fact that Elizabeth's in the awakened stage, and so these tests and these trials and these educations continue beyond the spinal sweep, or beyond the activation, beyond the kriyas, beyond all these things, and they actually insert themselves into the phenomena, as well as being their own specific phenomena. Okay, and so we have entities that just love to glom onto negative, hurtful emotions, and they just love to lie and try to convince you that they're one thing when they're actually another. And so in a way, the Shakti gives you this availability so that you can self-correct. And it depends on how deeply you're sucked into the dishonesty of the entities. It depends on how deeply you get sucked into that, will determine how hard it is for you to come into levels of personal honesty. Okay, and that is another subject that is really, really a difficult area. So if you're inside of entity bombardment, you really can only trust your own thoughts, and your own thoughts, when they're polluted by entities, can be a very difficult minefield to wend your way through. Who's talking to their critter? Who is that? Is that you, Elizabeth?
No, but there is a dog barking outside my yard. Like, okay. Not sure whose dog. Sorry.
It's hard. It is hard to discern sometimes what is your thought and what is an entity. And so you use the safety protocols. Whatever the thought is, you must discern for yourself if it is kind, if it is considerate, is it tolerant, is it truthful, is it an honest expression of how you feel in your heart. And if it is, then you must go with that, regardless of whether it's entity affected or not. And the more you do this, the less you allow corruption to enter into the equation. And the entities may ride that wave as well. They may ride the anti-corruption wave, just looking for an opportunity when you're weak, or when you have a stronger level of excitation towards corruption, that they can jump onto and go, see, you should be corrupt now. That's what they do. They do that. Or you should be afraid, or you should be this, or you should be that. And sometimes you got to remember that entities just are not single individuals. They come in groups as well. And so you'll have like 100 of them yelling at you or trying to push you a certain way, this way or that. And, it can be very, very difficult. So never give yourself to entities. I had a person just write me an email the other day. It says, and she starts right out, right at the beginning. I surrendered myself totally to the entities that contacted me when I was doing some sort of cards. What do they call them?
Oracle cards?
Oracle, yeah. The Oracle cards, whatever that is. I guess it's something like Tarot. And this person literally lost their marriage. Their children were taken away from them. Their home was taken away from them. Their car was taken away from them. Their pets were taken away from them. And they were literally cast out into the world, homeless, without money, without any kind of security, just because they made that terrible, terrible choice. And you can only imagine how many people in the world are having a very similar experience with oracle cards or Ouija boards, or even the tarot cards, which if read incorrectly can invite entity possession. I mean, you just go right down the list. You go to any Barnes and Noble or a bookstore or like a store that Elizabeth manages that has so many different types of cards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got probably every make of tarot card out there.
Oh, yeah.
And you probably sell the oracle cards as well.
Yes, we do.
And they're a hot item, I bet, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be very careful.
And it's hard when someone comes in that has entities that you can visibly feel their entities, and they're asking you to show them said oracle cards, and you're steering them away from them.
Actually, if you're explaining the oracle cards, you ask your Kundalini to put its energy on those oracle cards.
I do. I actually do every morning when I come in. I touch every deck I have. I ask her to do that all the time, and also just to clear everyone that's come through there.
And Sarah, we have a new caller. If you could go look at them, please, my dear.
Will do.
Thank you. Yeah. It's that would be something that I would do. I would set the energy in every book, every oracle card, every stick of incense, every lucky charm, lucky stone, pet rock. I mean, you name it. My Kundalini would just infuse everything in that store, including the fibers on the carpet.
Yeah, I do. I try to do that every day that I'm there. Yeah. Good.
And so
for sure. And I do try to steer people away from those type of things that I just can feel the entities, or I can feel the negativity coming off of them. Steer them completely away from that area. Something else would be, a better
more appropriate
choice.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, I mean, you're obviously a person in the right position. Okay. Kundalini arranged for you to be in that position, in that town, in that state, in this country, in order to do this work. And I want to hand it to you for doing it so well.
Thank you. Yeah, she definitely orchestrated it. She wanted that, and it seems it's just perfect. I mean, and I keep getting every morning when I wake up to go there, how the energy, I can just feel the energy coming up, and it's the positive, good, it's exactly where I'm supposed to be, and that's a great feeling,
Yeah, it is a really good feeling. When you feel like you're in harmony with what your Kundalini wants you to do, it is such a good feeling. Such an amazing, blessed feeling. And I know that both you and Santara are really, really following those compulsions of truth and honesty and grace and love and happiness and health and all of these things. And so I want to congratulate both of you. And so is Rosemary, who wasn't here. And so I'm going to go ahead and make Rosemary's announcement. I hope I make it right. Please correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. It looks like we are having a seminar on the 9th and 10th of July, 2016, in the great state of Minnesota, right in the middle of the vast prairie land of the Midwestern prairie, the eastern end of the Midwestern prairies. And these prairies literally extend from a little bit before Minnesota all the way across the section of the United States, the center section of the United States, all the way across to Wyoming and Colorado. I don't know if you've ever landed in an aircraft in Denver. It's always a very jouncy and bouncy kind of landing or takeoff because of all the winds that come off of the prairies, hit the Rockies, and form these amazing updrafts that all the pilots have to deal with. Well, this is because the prairie is so big and so vast and so open and unblocked by mountains that those winds, they come down really fast. This is also a level of tornado area as well. And so it's a very powerful place, the prairie is. And this is on the Drum Creek Farm, and they have a piece of prairie that has never been developed by humanity for farming. So the way it sits there is the way it was in the Pliocene, or, as the glaciers melted and opened up the prairie, this land was there without, agrochemical companies polluting it with glycophosphates and other really, really harmful things to the environment. I mean, and this is where I want to give the Shakti pot, is right there, like virgin Mother Earth. It's so beautiful. So we're having that on the 9th and 10th of July of this year in Minnesota. And I want you to get a hold of Rosemary Goliath, and she can be reached at rosemaryg@usinternet.com. So Rosemary, and then the letter G at usinternet.com. You can get a hold of her there. And she also has a phone number that I don't remember. Centaur Elizabeth, do you have her phone number?
2 seconds. I think I might have it right here. Give me 2 seconds. I'm scrolling down. And here we go. It is. Oh, it's not here. No, I don't have her phone number. Sorry, Chrism.
Okay.
Do you, Elizabeth?
I have to sign off to get it.
Oh, no, I have it that way too. But not.
Yeah, I have it on my phone, but I would have to hang up, I think.
That's okay.
I have
That's
it. 1 second. I'm looking at something else here, and I think I can. I have it. It's 651-452-3161.
So 651-452-3161?
Yep, that's it.
So everybody in Canada, Mexico, any of the United States, if you want to come in proximity of the real deal, then you come to that seminar and participate in that special place at that special time. And this is an overnighter too. So if you want to bring camping gear, that's great. If you have a trailer or a camper van or something, bring that. If you don't want to camp, well, we also have room availabilities at the local motel, and we also have some places on the property itself. And so really, really happy to be able to do this in such a beautiful natural environment. The last time I did it this way was in Ojai, California, and it was just an amazing, beautiful experience. I did something very similar at John of God's in the proximity of their sacred waterfall. And so I know this works, and I know this works strongly within natural environments. And certainly when you're in the natural environment, away from the bloodletting that humans invariably do to each other in past times and in current times, you're not around such horrible, horrible levels of pain and hatred that have stained the land in some places. And so when you're on this really natural piece of virgin property, you don't have as much entity interaction except for the entities that you might be bringing along yourself. Yes, I'm sorry, say again. Was that an entity on board?
Yeah, that was me giggling. But, Chrism, could I say something?
Please do.
I just wanted to add that my first seminar that I ever attended with Chrism was in Minnesota. I flew all the way out there. And I just want to say also that group of people, Rosemary and Joey, Katie, they're all just wonderful people. And it's a wonderful place to go for your first Shaktipat and seminar. It's, you get to meet Chrism in person, but also it's just a great group of people. The Minnesota people, and they're very welcoming, and they just, bring you right in and make you feel at home. So,
and they have a community now. There's a Minnesota Kundalini Awakening community too that is opening its arms, and so Yeah, it's very, very cool. And Elizabeth is right. I mean, Kundalini attracts the best people. The people that are interested in spiritual development, divine evolution, people who welcome a practice of the safeties. They're kind, they're considerate, they're caring, they're tolerant, they're honest. They have the qualities of grace, whether they even know that they're qualities of grace or not. They have them. And they come to the seminar, and a lot of them come just not knowing. They just feel pulled to come to the seminar, and once they're there, then they know why they're there. And they know what pulled them there as well. So very important to remember that the Kundalini will compel you to do certain things. And I just want you to, first of all, discern whether that's Kundalini or an entity. And once you make the discernment that it's the Kundalini, just go whole hog into what the Kundalini wants to give you and wants you to do. Okay. Go fully into that. Elizabeth, does Lorena have anything that she would like to add into our conversation, whether it's on this topic or not?
Hang on a second. No, I'm not getting anything.
Okay, no, that's
different.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fine. Very, very good. Very, very good. And for those of you that are pursuing the short path, I want to really advise you that the only real short path that I feel is the healthiest would be the ayahuasca short path, and that's what Elizabeth, Amelia, and I, and Cole, and a few other people partook of this last February, and it can be very illuminating. And you got to remember that we went down already Kundalini activated or awakened already. And, it pushed Elizabeth into the next level, and I think it pushed Santara, myself, and some of the other people there into the next level. And it's a very powerful thing, but you still must control how you think. You still must control how you feel. Okay? You still must do these things. You must still have that level of responsibility. Okay, and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put you in the blue there, Elizabeth. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And going to go here with that, and I'm going to ask Santara, were you able to collect any questions? I know I kind of ran up against the end of the show last time with questions, and so I'm going to start it off a little bit earlier today, okay?
Well, I don't have too many questions, Chrism, and I don't have where I had written them down from last week, but I have some. But could I just mention the seminar in Berlin before we continue?
Please do, and mention Manisha contact. Go
okay,
ahead.
I will do that. So there's going to be a seminar in Europe. Now, we've had them before in Europe, in Ireland, but this is going to be the first time it's in continental Europe. And that should make access for many of you who are listening to this much easier, because you might not have to fly. You might be able to get a bus or a train or some other, or even drive, some other way of getting to Berlin on the mainland of Europe. So do consider coming if you hear this announcement, if you are interested in Kundalini, if you're already Kundalini activated or awakened. It is, as Chrism and Elizabeth were saying earlier, it is a wonderful experience to come to a seminar, to meet with Chrism in person, and also Kundalini awakening people. There are very few of us who can do that. I mean, I'm here on my own in Ireland, and very few people in our group, in our Facebook group, have other people in their vicinity that they can meet. So this is a wonderful opportunity. It's like a gathering as well for us to get together. So it's happening on September the 3rd and September the 4th. And it's taking place in a beautiful location in Berlin, in a place that I cannot actually pronounce. So I'm not going to do that. For now, it's taking place in Berlin. And Manisha Manish is the lady who is organising it. Maneesha is her name, Manish. And you can find her on Facebook. She is on our groups, or you can put that into Google search and you will find it. Manisha is going to come in about 2 weeks' time. Manisha is going to come on here and speak to you all with further details. But in the meantime, you can drop her a line on Facebook, or you can write to me as well if you want to on my Facebook, and I will pass your name on to her, and you can become part of a list where you will be informed of what is happening. So again, that is September the 3rd and 4th in Berlin. Hope to see many of you there.
Yeah,
so that's
September
that
3rd and 4th in Berlin. And how do they contact you, Santara?
Well, they can contact me again on Facebook, Santara Kundalini, or you can write to kundalinimatters@gmail.com. That's my email address.
Very, very good. Thank you.
Not everybody is on Facebook. We tend to forget that.
Now I've traveled a little bit in Europe, and you know the cost of a flight, say from Central Europe, let's say Switzerland, or say from Switzerland to Germany is very, very inexpensive. I mean, I'd say less than 70 euros, I think. And then if you're going, say, from Spain to Germany, it might be a little more, but it's really reasonable if you use Ryanair or EasyJet to get there. And of course, as Amelia mentioned, the trains and the buses, they're all, Berlin's a major destination. And there's a lot of ayahuasca people in Berlin. In Germany right now, ayahuasca is a very big deal. And so there's a very strong level of Kundalini awareness, whether they know it or not. The ayahuasca, works directly with the Kundalini. And so if you're in Europe, or if you're in Africa, or if you're in India or Russia or Finland, Norway, Sweden, come to this seminar. Berlin is fairly central. So make it a point. I mean, begin to recognize the grace that wants to flow through you, and open yourself to that grace. Come to one of those seminars, and Manish is the person to contact, and I believe that is MANEESHA, and then it's a space, and it's MEEN Manish, yeah, MANEESH.
MAN, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all right. And if you could begin with the questions, Amelia.
I will.
Thank you.
I'm going over now, and I'm doing that. Okay, so the very first question, the first three questions have come into my inbox from a person who writes regularly. The first question is, what are different paths or methods to awaken Kundalini?
Oh, that goes into with the lady or the person that's called Love Thy Work just asked. And what are the different pathways towards awakening? Is that it?
Yeah, what are the different paths, methods to awaken Kundalini?
Well, the first method that I'm going to recommend above any and all others is a daily practice of the safety protocols. And you can reach that at www.kundaliniawakeningsystems1.com /the-safeties.html and the number sign. You can go there, and this is the safest, the best format for awakening the Kundalini. It's not instantaneous, but if you do a twice daily practice of the safeties, and you actually follow the safeties in your living of your life for 90 days, you're going to activate that Kundalini pretty much. So yeah, look at those safeties. Do those 5 Tibetans. Start out real slow. Don't go over 6 of each Tibetan when you're beginning. Make sure that you're doing your tolerance, your forgiveness, your patience, your kindness, your consideration, your service to others without expectation of being paid or recompensed in any way. make sure that you begin to walk the path of a saint before you have the expectation of having the power that a saint has, which is the Kundalini. Another method would be Shaktipat. And this is what we're in the middle of right now. We're in the second day, second chakra of Shaktipat. And Shaktipat, once again, is a transference or a starting of your Kundalini using the energies of an awakened individual. And so Shaktipat is another method. But the Shaktipat that I give is, once again, it's predicated on your practice of the safeties. If you're not doing the safety protocols, I don't want to give you a Shaktipat because you'll hurt yourself. Oh, you'll throw yourself into a level of hell that is very, very difficult to extract yourself from. So that's another venue of activation is through Shaktipat. And then, of course, you can, different levels of yoga, people have awakened that way. Tai Chi, people have awakened that way. Qigong, people have awakened that way. Sports accidents, people have awakened that way. Ayahuasca, people have awakened that way. So there is a plethora of opportunities for people to participate and to awaken or activate the Kundalini. If you're doing a lot of out-of-body travel, OBEs, OBEs are precursive events to a Kundalini activation. And so the more OBEs you do, the more likely you're furthering yourself towards a Kundalini activation. Over.
Okay, thank you, Chrism. The next question, where does one go?
Do we have a question with somebody there? Is there a call-in that has a question? You see that question?
Yes, I'll go check that out while I will go check that out. Look at all the 111s. I'll go check that out while you're answering this, Chrism.
Okay.
The question is, where does one go after his or her death?
Well, I'm glad we're keeping this along the lines of Kundalini.
That would be in a Kundalini context.
Yeah, there are different levels.
I'm going off.
Okay. There are different levels of arrival after death. You go to a place where you are taken care of. The first and primary thing is your care. You're cared for, and of course that depends on the qualities of behavior and grace that you've demonstrated in your physical lifetime that has now come to an end, and you've left the body. And if you're welcomed by relatives or friends, that's fine, and they'll tell you where to go and how to go to get there and all of that, and they'll escort you, and you'll be taken care of. You'll be guided in a benevolent and typically a positive fashion. You don't necessarily have to come in contact with people that are outside of your spiritual evolution. It's not the same as it is here in the living, where you are available for contact with people that are way outside of your spiritual evolution. After death, you're able to go to places that are beautiful. You're able to go into a place where your karma is revealed to you. The karma that you made is revealed to you. Your memories of past lives are revealed to you. Everything that was taken away from you as you went into the veil of forgetfulness in order to have this life in that body is returned to you. And you see where you made your progress and where you didn't make so much progress. And as you begin to understand where you didn't make that much progress and where you did make the progress, so is your next life being sculpted for you. Okay. When you die, you are your judge and jury and incarceration guard. I mean, you are the one that looks at how you did and how you didn't do, and you begin to make the determination of where you want your next life to be positioned, because the whole goal of having a life and taking a body within the physical plane is to advance yourself spiritually, is to evolve spiritually. And so as you look at your karma and you look at your life and you begin to experience everybody's response to what you did. So, oh no. Oh, okay, good. My computer just started to black out. Tell us about that.
Stop.
Panic. So as you are looking at that and you're allowed to go into the experience of people who were the butt of your jokes, who were the recipients of your kindness, who directly interacted with you. You get to go into their experience of you. And as you experience yourself through the eyes of another, you can really begin to see where there are levels of improvement that need to be made. And you begin to understand because you create so much karma in a lifetime. Oh my word, amazing levels of karma are created. But you get to see what levels of karmic refinement that divinity would like you to look at. And you'll get guided with this there as well. Don't think that you're not guided by divinity after you've died. There's very definite levels of guidance for a person to have from the divine sources as you're beginning to sculpt your next life using the karmic guidances that divinity will give you. But it is you that puts this all together. It is you that sees the patterns of probability that will occur for this new life as you walk the fields of death and begin to plan and begin to change yourself towards certain areas of refinement that you need in order to further progress along the spiritual evolution that you've set in motion. This all happens inside of death. Now, if you have done some fairly nasty things, well, you'll go to a place that reflects that level of self-expression. And some people would call that hell. Some people, like myself, would just call that another classroom where you get to learn certain things that allow you to come into karmic redemption in the next life. And the Kundalini is all about karmic redemption, let me tell you. That's why the ancient Chinese saying is, may you meet all your karma in one life. And that's kind of what Kundalini does. She allows you to meet as much karma as you need to meet in order to have the divine flesh experience. So this goes back to the beginning of our conversation again, is begin to control your thoughts. Thoughts become actions. Actions become habits. Habits become behaviors. Behaviors begin to mold into your destiny. I know I kind of switched that around a little bit, but it means the same thing. You need to control the way you think and the way you allow those thoughts you think to interact into the environment. This is why in the safety protocols, there is such a focus on tolerance, on patience, on love, on forgiveness, on these behaviorisms. Because it's a huge deal inside of the Kundalini awakening. A huge deal. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. You have somebody in line called Yvette, and she does have a question. So I'll put Yvette on now.
Thank you.
Welcome, Yvette.
Hi, Yvette.
I really love this show today. It's kind of a coincidence in some ways, maybe it's not really, that I tuned in, because I have been doing a lot of meditating and doing Kundalini, meditation as well. And all the things you've just said, I've already been doing, like the discipline of, and then the grace of the disciplines, kind of auspiciously just transmitting into me without doing anything, not even, just kind of being low, like, definitely not confrontation. Like all of the things that you're shifting into more of a peaceful warrior kind of a syndrome. You know what I mean? That's kind of like where I'm at. And
are you in the warrior zone?
Well, not fighting. No, I'm just like the peaceful kind of like just kind of like being present without having. I don't need to do the war. I let other people do the war. Like I'm seeing them. Like let's say someone's attacking me. And they've been verbally confrontational, and I'm not. And I'm like, oh, that's where you're at? I don't need that. But I'm not offended, and I'm not taking it on. So
Good.
I'm not normal either. So I just can see that, without being confrontational about, I need to prove myself. I don't have to have the storyline.
Good.
Yeah, and like just kind of generating in other aspects of my life. So I am in a creatively expansive space, and I'd like to. I know the Kundalini is working within me, but I also just saw what you just said. So I downloaded. I'm looking at the safety protocol as well. I just want to know what other insights you have for me about when I'm in my meditation, how to communicate with the Kundalini and how, like, maybe I would like to have more creative.
Are you the person that's loved thy work?
No, I'm not even online, but I'm looking at you.
Okay, all right. And so your question is how to communicate effectively with Kundalini?
Yeah, and I guess but at the same time, how to communicate, and also ask it to, I guess, reveal things to me, and like maybe if I need a question or I need something like help with something like finances, how can it help me? So that I do want to live a more fulfilled life doing this type of work without doing a 9 to 5.
I see. The best way that I know to do that is through direct asking. You just ask.
Okay.
You have to treat the Kundalini like it's another person inside you.
Okay.
A highly evolved person, a person that knows. But you got to be very careful because I don't think that you know whether or not you have entities in you yet, right?
I remember asking this question once or twice because I'm not afraid of that. I don't think I do, but I'm not afraid of like if that was, what I mean. It's not a question I'm afraid of. So.
Well, I don't want you to be afraid of them, but I don't want you to be courageous in an egotistical sense either.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. I've been on the dark night of the soul. I've done all that. I mean, so I know what it is to feel like something's inside you where you can't break free. But
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What do you need to do in your mind right now to help with your finances? What do you need to do?
What do I need to do? Do I need to get a job? I mean, it's the first thing I'd say, get a job. I mean.
And what kind of a job?
That's the question. I mean, I've done all different types of things in the past, and right now, I have a few part-time gigs.
How hard are you willing to work?
It's a catch-22. I've worked hard. I'm not afraid of working hard. I guess
how hard are you willing to work inside of difficult circumstances?
I mean, I don't know. I've worked before. I don't know. I mean, I'm the kind of person that once I'm in it, I'm in it. Like it's getting me there. Because I've had such a independent lifestyle for a while. That
you say you want to do the Kundalini work. Okay, right. You want to continue to do Kundalini work, but you're looking at improving your finances, and finances are very much a first chakra type of survival oriented thing. And there's a lot of energy, a lot of ego behind finances. And I'm going to suggest to you, where do you live, in the States?
Yes.
So I would look at working in a hospital, convalescent hospital, doing some elder care, or maybe even in pediatrics, if you can qualify for pediatric care. I would look at giving the service of love, kindness, to people that are on the edge of life, people who are in many cases struggling very, very hard to find even a modest level of joy in their life. And I've had students do this before. I've had students go straight in to a convalescent hospital and ask permission if they can visit with the residents and whatnot. And they go back into the break room, they visit with the residents, and on their Kundalini attracts those that need them to them. And you know, this person will stay, you know, Kundalini connected to those individuals until they pass. It's a golden opportunity to work in a convalescent home with the Kundalini within you, because it burns your karma. It's hard. It's hard work. I've worked it. It's hard work.
Oh yeah,
But
I know because I mean.
Go ahead.
No, I have a massage background as well, so
you have a what background?
A massage background. Massage therapy.
What is it?
I have a massage therapy background.
Oh, okay, massage therapy. Yeah, if
yeah,
you could
so
speak
I know, like,
just a little slower.
Okay.
My old ears have to keep up, you know.
That's okay. So I definitely know what that's about, being of service.
Yeah. And if you have the licensure that allows you to give like elder massage or things of that nature, well then you know that would be a very productive way. Another way would be you know, doing different levels of service that you might get paid a modest sum of money for, but you'll get paid far more with Kundalini by giving these levels of service to people that have really no other options.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Okay,
I'll be honest with you. The last 2 years I have been of service. The last 2 years I have been doing that. I've been in hospitals, giving massage.
Convalescent work?
No, but pediatrics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know that can help you with your pocketbook and help you with your Kundalini at the same time.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. And pediatrics or geriatrics, doesn't matter. They're all people, and they're all people in need of the service and the kindness and the grace and the love that your Kundalini wants to give to them through you. Mm-hmm. But one thing, I'm going to ask Centaura to comment on this too, and I'm bringing you into the conversation here, Centaura. You also, Centaura, do work on cancer patients, right?
Yes, I do, Chrism. I do indeed.
And you do the Kundalini-infused therapeutic touch, right?
Yes, I do. So the Kundalini is very present during my massage. The Kundalini is the one who gives the healing during the work. So what I do is before I begin, I communicate with my Kundalini and I go into devotion to my Kundalini, and I then begin the work. I begin the massage. I begin the therapeutic touch, and the Kundalini does it really.
Excellent.
Centaura kind of steps out of the way and lets the Kundalini work her hands and fingers as that person is being given a healing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a crucial element of it, is to step out of the way and not to, project my wanted outcome. I do it as a service, and I do it in love, and I step completely out of the way, except to be there physically and giving the therapeutic touch. And the Kundalini does it all, and it is a wonderful thing. I mean, it is. You were speaking with Elizabeth earlier about, being in the place that the Kundalini wants you to be in, and there's nothing that can compare to that when you're doing as you're being directed to do by her, and she led me to do that work, and it is wonderful to be able to do it. So
you seem to be in the same place, Yvette. So this is a good opportunity for you and since you've been doing it, for you say the last couple of years.
I have done it too. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like that might be a good opportunity for you. I've also had people work with the homeless. You know, when you're homeless, your life is very, very different than when you're, you know, and I have been homeless. I know exactly how that is. And giving a free massage to a homeless person might be another vector for you to look in.
Interesting. So
It's all about.
Go on.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I've never thought about. I mean, I know I allow energy to move through me, but being specific about the Kundalini, I actually like that a lot.
Yeah, you know, it's a direct, conscious validation of the Kundalini within you, and you don't do it with any other source except Kundalini. And if you find a voice in your head going, "Wow, with that you are so awesome. Oh my God, you should. Oh wow, you are so good at this. Oh, you should just do this. Oh, this is the best." If you find your ego being really stroked, that's going to be an entity.
Okay.
Alternatively, if you find your ego being very, very dismissed or categorically traumatized, "Oh, we bet you don't know how to do massage. What do you call yourself, a massage artist? Well, my God, you know." If you find something like that,
that's funny. Yeah.
That is also an ego, or I'm sorry, an entity attacking your ego. And so you know not to pay attention to any of those. You just change that channel, and you go straight to Kundalini. And you also don't lift your hands to the sky and go, "Kundalini," or some force of healing, enter into my hands that I may give the healing upon this person. In other words, don't do Reiki.
Right. No, absolutely not. I wouldn't.
Because you know the person that is ill or is having a difficult time does not need to be infected by an entity that comes through your hands.
Right.
So I think I think you're very, very well set right now to begin to do strong levels of service into the populations, and this indeed will coalesce into Kundalini activation for you, especially if you practice those safeties twice a day.
Okay.
So good on you, girl. Go get them.
Thank you. I will. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. I'll put you in the listening mode here.
Do you have anything on YouTube?
Do I? What?
Do you have anything on YouTube?
I have about 340 things on YouTube.
Cool.
Go to Chrism, CHRISM Kundalini, KUNDALINI, on the YouTube search bar, and you'll see some old guy with a beard coming up.
Okie dokie. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye, Beth. Thank you. Very cool.
Oh, there's
Actually,
Rose.
Chrism, I'm reminded.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. I was going to tell you Rosemary is here.
Okay. Let's see. Coming over to Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, thank you. I am in South Minneapolis here with Joey, my buddy, and we are just finished setting up a film, the film for 3 people that are here so far. And we wanted to make sure that the world that is listening knows that July 9th and 10th, Chrism will be here in Minnesota doing a seminar. And to be in the seminar with someone with the Shaktipat, the Shakti that you have, and to be in your presence, it is a powerful experience and touches.
It's only powerful if I don't use. It's only powerful if I don't use deodorant. Then it gets very powerful.
Anyway, Rosemary G at usinternet.com or 651-329-9615. I'd be more than delighted to share with you any further information. It is at a prairie, 100 acres of prairie, and you can camp out if you like. There are our plugins there can receive that, and you can sleep under the stars, or not.
I
have some rooms nearby too.
I plan on sleeping under the stars for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll sleep with the beavers.
They would probably welcome company.
They probably wouldn't, but we did the announcement of the seminar there, and I would like you to give them your internet address, would you please? RosemaryG@usinternet.com.
Thank you.
Okay,
we were busy setting up. We heard you on our way in the car, but then when we got here, we got set up.
Many thanks to you and Joey for doing such amazing outreach.
Yes,
amazing.
And Katie as well. I don't know if Katie's on the call. Katie and Chrism's coming the 5th. He will be speaking 6, 7, and 8. 6 in Mankato, 7 in Wyndham, and 8 in Minneapolis. And we have that information we can send to you as well.
Very nice. Very nice,
Pretty
my dear.
soon.
And thank you. I'll go ahead and let you get back to setting up there. And I wish you a very, very good show. And and remember to just to take a moment with Joey, look into each other's eyes, and acknowledge the Kundalini, and then ask the Kundalini to spread itself to everyone in that room.
Yes, we'll do that. Do that.
Okay, putting you into the listener mode. And I just want to say that I'm very grateful for people who have found the wherewithal and the ability to give a donation to this work that I do. I don't have a job. I mean, I could go out and get a job. Not a problem. I could do everything that I was telling Yvette to do. But I tend to spend most of my time now guiding people within the Kundalini and helping them to get the Kundalini or to balance themselves within the Kundalini. And one of the ways that I've been able to do that is through the thoughtful, kind, and considerate gifts of either material property or finances that you, the listening audience, has allowed to combine. There's one person here, Josephine Smith, who is listening right now, that the only reason I'm able to give this show right now is because of the gifts and the kindness and the consideration that Josephine Smith has provided. And I just want to give a public shout out and a shout of gratitude to Josephine while she's at work for allowing this to take place. And so thank you. And I'd also like to thank Suntar, for putting this show on. This show that you're hearing right now is existing because of Amelia Santara and her gifts of grace. And you don't need, I'm not saying, that, if you don't give, a donation or a gift of some sort that you're not going to receive anything. That's not true at all. You can, I'll give to anybody and everybody, and you don't have to give anything back. But for those that feel the pull to do that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. And thank you for allowing this Kundalini work to take place. And go ahead, Chantal.
And if people would like to do that, I'm going to give you the donation button address. You can go to www.chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com. And thank you very much. Okay, will I continue with the questions, Chrism?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so the next one is, who are unknown persons we meet in dreams?
Okay. Before I answer that, I'd also like to say a shout out of gratitude to Tyler. Tyler, who is also, I believe, Ravenize, whatever. I would like to say thank you to Tyler for, I believe Tyler's the one that's copying these programs onto YouTube. And I want to say thank you for that too, because that just allows the outreach to go even further. So many thanks to you, Tyler. And who is it that we meet in our dreams that when we don't recognize them, right? Is that the question?
Yeah, unknown persons, yes.
Unknown persons in our dreams. In many cases, there are individual guidance that a person has, because obviously we're not talking specifically about Kundalini here. Everybody has a level of guidance that they are gifted with at birth that tries to help them stay along the path of either karmic redemption or spiritual evolution. And so those entities, or those guides, we'll call them, can disguise themselves in various ways. Also, other people that you have known, other people that are not incarnate at this time, and with the grace of your guides, can come into your dream and give you a certain teaching about a certain thing. You don't need to recognize them. There are far more people that are outside of the flesh than there are inside of the flesh. Gazillion trillions more. It's a very limited format here on this world, where you incarnate into a body or into a family, typically a family that you've incarnated within in the past. And so, you've been the grandmother, you've been the grandfather, you've been the father, the mother, the child, the niece, the nephew, the aunt, the uncle. You've been all of these things. And some of you may just be going through the process of experiencing what it is to be all of these things within that family unit, within that group of souls that are incarnating together. For those that are not, like Grandma Jean, well, Grandma Jean passed away, and Grandma Jean, being given all of her memories, all of her karma, all of her spiritual evolution, well, she may take a bit of time before she wants to have the next life. And she may help you with yours. But she won't come as Grandma Jean. She'll come as somebody that you don't recognize, helping you in some way in the dream, or giving you in some way a teaching inside of the dream state. Most of the people that you'll meet in the dream life have had to come through your guidance. If any of you are doing the OBE or the out-of-body experience work, in some cases you'll feel, Robert Monroe writes of this in his book, Journeys Out of the Body, which I suggest all of Robert Monroe's Journeys Out of the Body, Further Journeys, and The Ultimate Journey. I will recommend those 3 books to anybody that is pursuing Kundalini or who's pursuing out-of-body work, which, as I mentioned before, is a precursor to Kundalini. You'll have invisible hands come and kind of pull you out of your body, or they will guide you directly. I remember the hands taking hold of me and traveling or moving me across what looked like galaxies and universes. It's kind of like being inside of a Hubble picture. You see these galaxies whisking by. Oh my God. We're already there?
You're there. Are you gone?
No, but I only got 1:22 left. So anyway, there are many. Mine says 1 minute, 16 seconds left.
Yeah.
Yours?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Amazing.
You're right. That's all. That's true.
Anyway, so you'll have many different experiences of people that you don't know. And I'm going to say goodbye, Sarah.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye,
Say
everybody.
goodbye, Elizabeth.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, my God.
See you all next week.
Oops. Yep. Yeah, I think she was saying, see you all next week. And I'm going to go ahead and end it like I started with. And thank you for everybody who came in, Elizabeth, Alanis, Guest 1405 and 1427, Mary Jean, Revenese, Cole Kundalini, Josephine at work. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. And here we go. See you next week.